Chairman, I also oppose this underlying bill, which is why I call it, as others have, the Wrongdoer Protection Act for multi-state and multinational corporations, and for that purpose, I add this amendment. It is no coincidence that these corporate wrongdoers want to force consumers to fight them in federal court. That is the effect of this bill, to enlarge federal court diversity jurisdiction. It is no coincidence that the corporate wrongdoers want to fight there in federal court, and not because they think the federal judges are better looking or the federal judges are more polite or the decor in the federal courtrooms is nicer to look at. That's not it at all. They want to go there because they are more likely to prevail and to beat consumers in federal court. They know that. They know that after a generation of regrettable decisions across the street by the Supreme Court of the United States, federal court has become very favorable turf for corporate wrongdoers. Generations of bad decisions that invite and exhort federal judges to forget about the Seventh Amendment in our Bill of Rights. You remember the Seventh Amendment? It was written by James Madison. It was announced as approved by Secretary of State Thomas Jefferson, whose statue stands right outside these chambers. It was an amendment that says, very simply, in suits at common law where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved. There is nothing ambiguous about that statement. It's not hard to understand. It's about how important the right to trial by jury is to us here in these United States. But since the 1980s, there has been this steady drumbeat of decisions from the United States Supreme Court encouraging and emboldening federal court judges to decide and dismiss cases without the trouble of a jury trial. And their toolkit is enormous for doing that. Motions to dismiss, motions for judgment on the pleadings, motions for summary judgment, motions for directed verdict, motions for judgment as a matter of law. Cases do get thrown out every day in this country without the trouble of a jury trial, and the Seventh Amendment right to a jury trial is not preserved, and that is why wrongdoer corporations prefer to be in the federal court. Federal court has become candy land for corporate wrongdoers in this country, and this bill helps them stay there and fight consumers in federal court. It changes the law to allow corporate wrongdoers to do that. I want to give you some very strong reasons, Mr. Chair, why this bill is so bad. Number one, it is discriminatory. Unless you are a multi-state or multinational corporation, this bill doesn't help you. If you are an individual sued in state court, this bill does not help you. If you are a small business owner only doing work in your state, this bill does not help you. Only multi-state, multinational corporations get help from this bill, and that's why I call it the Wrongdoers Protection Act for multi-state and multinational corporations. Number two, it's burdensome. The federal courts are already overworked and understaffed. Civil case load already growing at 12% per year. There are currently 123 vacancies in our federal judiciary. There's no reason to add to this burden by changing the law. Number three, this bill forces state court cases into federal court. We have a crowd in this House that consistently preaches about states' rights and the need to cut back on the federal government's reach. But a bill like this comes along, and they drop that state rights banner like it's a hot potato and pick up the coat of arms of the multi-state, multinational corporations. If you really care, if you really do care about states' rights, you should no on this bill. You see, these cases, called diversity cases, are filed in state court under state law. And ever since the 1930s, in the Erie Railroad case, if you take these cases and handle them in federal court, the federal judges are bound by law to follow state law, not federal law. Mr. Chairman, there is nobody better at interpreting and following state law than state court judges. It stands to reason. I offer this amendment that is at the desk to exempt consumer cases against insurance companies for bad faith and insurance practices. The majority is going to persist and present this gift to multi-state and multinational corporations. At least include this amendment and protect consumers trying to fight insurance companies.
Gentleman from